Here's your host, Chelsea Edwards.
Welcome to another episode of Chattin with Chelsea. I'm your daytime bestie, Chelsea Edwards. You know, besties, we love you so much that we want to keep you safe. So today, we're keeping it practical. We've got an expert in who is going to show us how to prepare for and survive a natural disaster. Plus, we've got another special guest who survived Katrina at just 9 years old. Now, 20 years later, her story is about what came after the storm. The healing, the resilience, and turning her pain into purpose. Take a look.
Hurricane Katrina, now a Category 2 storm, expected to strengthen to a 3 or 4 before landfall.
That night, we would hear all kind of noises, all kind of sounds, people screaming. We didn't know where the screams were coming from. So we just kept the doors locked and laid there and just waited for daylight.
Wow, what an impactful story. So important to continue to tell, even though we are 2 decades later. Welcome, Yasmeen Blake, director of Together in the Eye, 20 years later. I mean, it's also so important to hear the story from somebody who actually went through Katrina. What perspective do you feel like you added to this, creating this documentary?
I think that I added the perspective that a lot of the documentaries are missing because I have cast members who are survivors, including myself, my family, but I also went and got other survivors from different parts of the city, from uptown to downtown, from the Lafitte to the St. Bernard, right? Usually when you see a Katrina documentary, it hits the Superdome and the Convention Center. I didn't want that for this film. I wanted it to go into those inner city neighborhoods where the low-income families were living in, because those are the people who were impacted the worst.
And you were just 9 years old when this happened.
Yes.
Was it a struggle to try to remember, or was it just burned into your brain what happened?
It's burned into my brain. My sister knows more. She remembers more than I do because she was 13, but I tell people all the time, I remember hearing about Katrina. I think it was August the 23rd. And I remember looking up at the sky and thinking everything is about to change forever. So I always knew that it would be catastrophic.
How did you and your family survive? Because you have siblings that were with you during this time as well. What did you all do?
So we rode the storm out, and we were in the apartment for about 4 days or 5 days, and then the National Guard came in and they made us leave, and they told us that they were going to put us on evacuation buses to take us to Houston. But when we got to the ferry, it wasn't evacuation buses, it was military trucks, and they dropped us off under the I-10 in Metairie, and we slept there for about 3 nights.
Wow.
Yeah.
And then when you came back to your city, your hometown, what was it like seeing through a 9-year-old's eyes? What was it like seeing what happened?
It was sad. It was heartbreaking. I didn't understand why we were going back. My mama is a New Orleans girl, so I understand now as a 29-year-old, I understand why she wanted to go back home because we love home, right? But I just didn't understand why we were going back into an environment that we escaped. And we had to start over. There were no grocery stores, right? The schools were not open. So we rolled back into no man's land, and I didn't understand at the time why.
What do you hope people take away from you doing this documentary?
That I am working very hard to preserve our culture, to tell the history, because this is not in the history books, and I think that it should be. And I want people to understand what the culture of New Orleans was before the storm. It meant so much to us. It means so much to us. And we don't have anything left from it at this point because they've taken the schools, they've taken the neighborhoods. All we have is our memory.
Wow. And you're a journalist, so it's not just you went through it, but you've been working and seeing people's stories throughout the city, period. What else did that add to this project for you? Being a journalist, I mean, I'm sure you had additional connections and all that as well.
I would say that Katrina shaped who I am as a journalist, right? And working in TV news has desensitized me a bit to hard topics because we see the bad every day. But it allowed me to tap into my investigative bag. It allowed me to tap into narration, script writing, editing, shooting, everything. So had I not had that start in journalism, I don't think this project would be right now.
And you did this in just 4 months,
Yes.
is that right?
Yes.
What?
Delusion,
What?
girl.
Look-
Oh, delusion. I said, I want to get it done. I have this hard deadline. And when you work in news, you know, you have to meet that deadline. If we shoot it at 1 o'clock, it needs to be on air by 4 o'clock.
Yes.
And there's a way. And I made it happen.
Okay, so there was, I understand the delusion part.
Yeah.
Coming from news, your deadlines are so short.
Yes.
So you were probably thinking, okay, the anniversary was what, 4 months away?
We can do
We
it.
can do that.
Oh, well.
We can-
Easy peasy. Piece of cake.
What would you say was essential to getting that done and meeting that deadline?
I walked away from a lot of pieces. I mean, a lot of things, including myself. So I put a lot of things on the back burner. I stopped going to the gym. I resigned from my job.
Wow.
Yeah, everything I did on a regular basis, I put it on a back burner to give 24 hours out of my day to this project.
Wow. All right, you back in the gym now? You back on
Not
your
yet,
routine?
girl.
Not yet?
Not yet. I'm hoping soon.
We're still working our way back.
Yes.
All right. Well, I want to talk more about what you took away from this experience and how people can use that as well to get over and through trauma. We're going to take a quick commercial break, guys, and we'll be right back with that.
And I often wonder, what could I have said? What could I have done? What could I have truly done to make them realize how dangerous Katrina was going to be?
The Katrina documentary, Together in the Eye 20 Years Later, is not just about survival, it's about resilience and healing. So let's get into that. But we are joined by Yasmeen's sister, Janiqua, who also went through this with you. Now, Janiqua, you were a little older at the time. What's the part of surviving the storm that stands out to you the most?
The part that stands out to me the most is the evacuation process. It was very tedious, it was heartbreaking, and it was delayed. And so I feel that we were able to hold on to each other and make it through that process, even though we were going through that heartbreak of being delayed and being left under the I-10 overpass. It's something that I will never forget.
Wow, it sounds like there's trauma there left over. How do you explain that to people who think, okay, well, you made it through, so you should be good? How do you describe what was left for y'all?
Heartbreaking. How do you describe it to anyone? I probably don't even have the words for it. It was just so traumatic and heartbreaking.
How long has that trauma stayed with you?
20 years. 20 years, and it's probably still gonna be here.
Yeah.
It's lifelong.
Yeah. Well, Yasmeen, you wanted to do this project to help people also learn how to get through things. So what would you say to the people watching, giving them some guidance on how to overcome trauma like a natural disaster?
I would say to sit in it, don't run from it, and whatever it is, allow it to move through you and release it. And for me, I didn't even realize how much trauma I had when it came down to Katrina until I started this project, right? I sat down and interviewed people, and I'm watching them cry, and I'm taking on their words. But when it was time for me to sit down and narrate it, after we wrote it and I started to speak those words about my experience, that is when I realized, okay, there's something sitting in me as well, but I healed through it by writing it, by narrating it, by picking the shots, right? By editing it a certain way. So for me, my healing process has been storytelling. I would tell other people to write, journal, record yourself on a video to allow it to release from your body and go out into the world so that you can be freed.
Is journaling a strategy that you've already used throughout your life growing up?
I have journals from elementary, middle, high school, college, and these days I'm getting my Carrie Bradshaw on. I'm using my MacBook. I'm not writing anymore. But yeah, journaling has been very therapeutic for me, and I try to tell people all the time, like, write it out. Get it out of your heart, and then you can come back and watch it, read it years and years later, and you can see how far you came.
Janiqua, what about you? How are you coping?
This documentary has given me the opportunity to cope. It definitely has. I pray about it. and I ask God to give me the strength and the patience that I need to navigate through it. I haven't actually had any therapy, but this documentary has created that outlet for me.
Do either of you hope to talk through this in therapy?
Yeah.
Someday? Okay.
Oh,
Yeah.
Absolutely.
What do you think that might add to your healing process?
First of all, I think it'll be great for our family as far as bonding, because we were all out there under that interstate together and we all went through that process together. And not only that, we came back to the city together and it was deserted, right? And we learned how to grow with the new New Orleans. So I think it'll be a great act of bonding for our family, and also it'll heal future generations because we're going to feel the effects of this forever.
And how many were there of you and your family going through this?
It was 5 of us.
Yeah.
We have 2 little brothers and our mom.
Okay. And you talk about healing as a family and also as a community, like the larger part of New Orleans. What do you think needs to happen to continue that process?
We need to talk about it because there are a lot of people walking around the city. I opened up a casting call and so many people submitted their stories, but I can only pick 3. And what I learned throughout that process of reading and listening to audio messages, like people have a story that they want to share, but they haven't been given an outlet. So I think we need to talk. We need to talk more about it, because when you don't talk about things, they never go away and it can manifest into physical illnesses, mental illnesses, right? So I just think we need to talk, and we also need to preserve our culture because we're losing it day by day. And you can't have New Orleans without us.
Yeah,
You can't have it without us.
Absolutely. Back when I was doing news, sometimes I would get a story that was heartbreaking, and not even having lived through this necessarily, but telling that story, I would be brought to tears.
Yeah.
So I can't imagine what this process was like for you. How often did you have to pull back and take a break to be able to move forward?
Every day I had a moment, and some days were heavier than others, but I would say that the actual anniversary of the storm, it was a heavy, heavy day for me, and I was feeling so many different emotions. I didn't even understand how I felt. It was like a somberness feeling, right? We commemorate Katrina every year and we acknowledge it, but this year it hit a little different because I learned more. I did my research, right? I learned so much throughout this process, and it made me realize how much we lost.
Janiqua, what are you hoping that people will take away from this story? I mean, you are a part of it.
So we don't like to say the word resilience so much because that's what everyone is expecting from us, but just the strength of the families that had to endure this, take away from it that we all have to stick together and be prepared in some form of fashion, and understand that we have to depend on each other. That New Orleans pre and post Katrina is still a thriving city, and that the culture is still very thick.
A lot of lessons to be learned from this documentary. Yasmeen, where can people watch it?
So you can watch it at home. You can stream it at www.togetherinei.com, and we're hoping to get picked up soon, right, on one of the streaming services, so you can just pick your remote up and open it up and watch it. It's educational, it's sad, you're gonna cry, but you'll also laugh and you'll be informed on who we were before August 29, 2005.
And there's some lessons to take away for all of us. Well, thank you so much, ladies, for joining us and sharing your story. You guys, we're gonna take a quick break and then we'll be back with some survival tips in case you do have a natural disaster in your area. It's not our favorite thing to get an alert that there's a natural disaster coming to us, but it is important that we pay attention and we get prepared. So we've got Brian Murray from the Harris County Office of Homeland Security and Emergency Management. Here's the thing, people hear Homeland Security and they think something else, but you guys really help us when a disaster is coming.
That's our biggest job, absolutely correct.
So what are some things? Let's start with things that we need to make sure we get together when there's something happening.
So yeah, let's start with the simple stuff. Let's build a kit real quick, shall we?
Okay, let's do it.
So we've told everyone for years, 7 to 10 days of food and water. And
7 to 10 days.
Non-perishable food, and please pick stuff you eat, because canned spinach, if you don't like it, does not taste any better during a disaster. So get stuff that you are happy to eat.
Not just because it's on sale.
Absolutely right.
Get what you want to eat.
But having said that, make sure that you be smart about your shopping. If you go out and buy everything in a disaster kit, you could be talking about hundreds of dollars. But if every time you go to the grocery store, you go pick up an extra can of tuna or whatever, you can build your kit gradually and keep it fresh by doing it over time.
Okay,
it also spreads the cost out.
Yes, very smart. Okay, and I'm surprised to hear you say 7 to 10 days, because a lot of times people just think, okay, well, the storm is just coming through for a few hours, so maybe a day or two, I should be good.
So for every disaster, we don't always know what the impacts are going to be. So you could have a situation where maybe the power's out for 7 to 10 days. If we had a bad enough hurricane, a hurricane like Alicia from 1983, we could theoretically be without power in some parts of the area for more than a month.
Wow.
So that 7 to 10 days is important. Now, we will do food and we will do MREs and a lot of those disasters, but that's not going to get you very far. Really, that's why you have to build that kit.
Got it. All right, so what's the most important thing that you would say you need for this kit?
I think the biggest challenge we have is that people need to put themselves in the position to receive emergency alerts and warnings.
Okay.
Because that's part of knowing that, hey, I need to take some action to protect myself, to protect my family, to protect my home. So, number one, make sure that you're signed up for emergency alerts. Go to readyharris.org. You can sign up there, very simple. Give us your email address, and we will send you messages when you need them.
Okay.
The other thing I want to make sure you do, though, is go and spend some money on a weather radio. And this one actually is battery powered, also works with a hand crank.
Okay, wow.
And it gets AM, FM, and the NOAA weather radio band. The nice thing about this is it doesn't depend on cell phones, it doesn't depend on electricity. It's something that'll be there to give you that information before, during, and after disaster. So even though, yes, we all do rely on our cell phones, you need to have that backup. That's part of being prepared, part of being resilient, is to have a backup for your backup.
I love that. Where can we get these?
Oh, great question. Get them online, get them at hardware stores, get them at sporting goods stores. They're available everywhere, and I think they will start as low as $15 or $20.
All right, great. Off to a great start. Now, what else do we need?
So let's make sure we have comfort items. I don't know about you. I tend to bathe.
Yeah.
I tend to want to be clean.
Yeah, facts.
So, simple things. Hand soap, toothpaste, shampoo, things to clean with, the paper, things like paper towels, things like cleaning solutions. Those are all very important. Cleaning up your house, cleaning up wherever you have to go, following a disaster, those things are important to have. And even though we tell people 7 to 10 days worth of bottled water, I want to point out that's just a drink. If you like to brush your teeth or wash your hands, you might want to have a little more water than that.
Right.
So, think through the things that you do every day, the things that you need to do every day. And if I had to do those without power, in the dark, without maybe running water for a little while, what do I need to make that possible?
Yeah, and also considering that there may be issues with the water supply as well. So keep that in mind. And I think this will also make it more pleasant for the people that you are surviving a storm with.
Absolutely right. Absolutely right.
What else should we make sure we have in our kit?
So I think the other thing you need to think about is, do you have kids? If you have kids, how are you going to keep them busy?
Great question.
Games, board games, not electronic games, puzzles, things like that, books, things that will keep people occupied during those periods when maybe you don't have power. I think you also need to factor in pets. If you have cats, dogs, birds, whatever it is, you need to have their food, their medicine, their toys, their comfort items. Taking care of your pets is as important as taking care of yourself.
Yeah, that's another thing that people may not consider. You don't want to have to leave your pet behind if you have to evacuate.
No, you should absolutely not do that. Pets need to be part of your family like, your kids or your parents. If you're evacuating, the pets should go with you.
Yes, and I love the idea of keeping the kids occupied so we're not all going crazy.
Yep.
All right. Is this a sleeping bag?
That is a sleeping bag.
Okay.
Sleeping bag, flashlights, medications. I don't know anybody that's not on some medication. Do you have those with you? If you're evacuating, for sure, do you have those to take with you? You may not be able to refill a prescription for a while, so make sure you have the whole bottle and not just your daily kit that you may have. So little things like that will make your lives a lot easier. And then I will also tell you, all of this you do not have to remember. You can go to readyharris.org. You can print out our emergency checklist that's available in English, Spanish, Vietnamese, and I believe Chinese. So you've got some options there for accessibility.
And then for people outside of the county, they can use the same list.
This list does not depend on where you are.
Okay.
This is a very basic list of things that you need to make sure you have. The other thing I'll caution you, I mentioned earlier doing this gradually. don't wait until the last minute. We've all seen the videos from different cities experiencing, hurricanes coming in, people trying to fight over the last case of water, the last loaf of bread. Don't be the person that's staring at empty shelves. Do this ahead of time, have it ready. And I will also say, if you're a parent with children, include your kids in building that kit. They need to know what's in it and they need to know where it is.
Yeah, thank you for making sure that we're prepared and not just waiting for the stars to align for someone else to rescue us in case of a disaster.
No, that's a very good point. I think it's important that we look at being prepared as a permanent thing. Yes, it's hurricane season. Yes, we're still in National Preparedness Month. But Harris County gets disasters year-round. We're susceptible to all sorts of weather, not just hurricanes. So being prepared year-round is the most important thing you can do. And once I know I'm prepared, I need to talk to you and make sure you're prepared. And then we need to go to our other neighbors and make sure they are. That's how we build a resilient community. That's how we make the entire area safer.
And that's why people love us in Texas. We take care of each other,
and
right?
We do a very good job of that.
Yeah, so no matter where you are, just make sure you're ready.
Yep.
And then I want to point out, you've been in Houston since the 80s, right?
Right.
Been through a lot of storms. I just want to ask, is there anything special in your kit that you include as well?
It's funny. I don't think there is anymore. I'm so stuck on the basics. I know the list by heart. I'd probably have to find a Lego set or something like that to keep me busy. But after that, I'm probably good.
All right. I wouldn't mind riding out a storm with you playing some Legos, right? All right, guys. We're going to take a quick break, and we'll be right back after this. We hope today's show has gotten you prepared to face any storm. Please keep up with us on social at Chelsea Show Fox. Wardrobe provided by Trezor Cachet Boutique. Thank you for watching. We'll see you on the next Chattin with Chelsea.